welcome back to Internet Girls.
Welcome back. This is actually take 2, fun fact. We had some technical difficulties.
But we're
But
here.
but we are here. And are you guys feeling the love in the air?
Yeah, it's Love Week. It's National Week of Love. And we love
That's
you.
right.
All
We
our
do
little
love you.
Valentines.
Yeah, you're our Valentines. If you don't have a Valentine, just tell everyone yes you do. Because you're our Valentine.
You're our Valentine. Yes. We are adopting you and we love you. So happy Love Week. Which I remember when I was in like high school, perpetually single. Just kidding. I was dating like 3 guys. I would refer to it as Singles Awareness Day. And yeah, that was sad. I do remember though, quick story, because we talked about this on last week's podcast, my first boyfriend, and I just had this thought that for Valentine's Day, we used to, I don't know if you had this, Tori. Did you ever have like love grams in school?
Not that I can remember, but possibly. But not that it come to mind.
It was where like they would sell or like you could buy like a love gram and then someone would like come to your classroom like during class and they would like present you with whatever the like it could be a song, it could be a poem, it could be flowers.
No, but I love that. I remember Mean Girls had that in the movie.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe that's what it was inspired by. But we had that for years and I'd never gotten one, which was fine because I wasn't that into attention. So one year when I'm dating my first boyfriend, sitting in history class, just minding my own business, probably on my phone, like whatever, not paying attention. And someone walks in with like a friggin' dozen red roses, a box of candy, a teddy bear. And I'm like, oh, like someone got a love gram. And it was for me. And I
Oh,
see you say oh, but it was like the most embarrassing moment of my life for some reason.
what?
Maybe because I was like
Why?
16 and I was like, oh, don't look at me, you know?
Oh my gosh. See, but I just can't imagine you not like wanting the, you know what I mean?
No, you want it until you have it. That's the thing. Because I was
Okay.
like, I want a love gram. And then it happened. And I think they sang a song to me too. And I was
Oh,
like, I'm humiliated. Like,
he
and
went
everyone's
all
over there
out.
like Hannah has a boyfriend. And I'm like, well, let's not talk about it. Like, I'm not
So
even
how,
that into him.
wait, how did he like get it to your school? You know?
I guess he talked to someone who went to my school who was like doing the love grams because she was like in theater and she was like singing. This
Oh,
is just
that's
what I remember.
sweet. That's so sweet. I
But
love
it was like
that.
so embarrassing at the time. Like looking back, I'm like, oh, that was cute. Like, what initiative. And now yeah, back then I was like, oh, I would rather die than be here right now.
Oh, that's really sweet. I remember my high school boyfriend didn't go to my high school either, and he had put like a note on my door and like put roses leading up to my room and had like a sign in my room.
That's so cute.
Yeah, but I didn't get a song sung to me, and
Okay, but
uh
I think this is when I realized that I'm not a fan of like public displays of affection.
okay,
You
like
know,
big grand gestures or not
yeah,
your yeah.
like I remember like when John and I started talking about like getting engaged, I was like, look, please don't do it publicly. Like I get too embarrassed. I'll be in my head. Like I don't like public grand displays. Like let's do it in private somewhere. Like it can be super chill.
So you're fine with a
So,
grand private display.
yeah. Just not in front of people that aren't like my friends. Like, ugh,
Yeah.
it gives me the ick. And I think that was the moment I realized that I didn't want a grand proposal. It was when I was sitting in history class and got a love gram from my nerdy little boyfriend.
Oh, that's funny. That's actually a cute little story. Speaking of cute little stories, we today are talking about how we met our big loves of our lives for Valentine's Day because it's Valentine's Love Week, which happens to be my favorite holiday because it's not just about romantic love, it's about the love everywhere in your life. So wherever that is, even if it's like the person who you see at the gas station every week who you have a pleasant conversation with, your like everyday gas station person where you get your coffee from, you know?
I'm like, do people have this?
Well, Matt used to be really into Circle K coffee back in the day, and he'd be like, "Oh, I love that."
What?
I know.
That's so
Don't worry,
random.
he's come a very long way since.
I'm like, do you mean like Starbucks? Because who gets their coffee from the gas station every morning?
No,
Okay.
when he was in college, that was like his thing. He was like Circle K coffee, like, and then they started. It was also like carried over to his first year of nursing, and then during COVID, which was like his first and a half year of nursing, they started doing free coffee for nurses at Circle K. So
Oh
he
my
was
God,
like,
his Super Bowl.
yeah, he was like, they're
That's
like
so
gold. So he
funny.
has a special place in his heart still for them. But now he's like, he just ordered this thing called a mocha pot. Have you heard of this?
No.
Okay, it's like this special coffee contraption, but it's very popular in Europe. We only know about it because this fancy guy whose house that we're living at for the next 3 months like had one and introduced Matt to it. So now he's a coffee snob. So it escalated from like there to there. He just ordered one, but
Oh,
yeah,
wow.
from
I
Circle
love that
K
for him.
to where he is now. That it's shocking, really.
He's, yeah, it's the Torri effect.
Yeah, I think so.
That's the thing. I feel like the girlfriend effect or the wife effect is like the most real thing because I don't know if you've ever seen pictures of what John looked like when I first met him compared to now. He's a different person.
Really? I haven't
I
seen any.
changed his life.
Really? So, what would you describe him like before?
Okay, no beard, which since we've been dating for like 9 months, he's had a beard because basically forced that on him. He had such a baby face, super skinny. He was like a little hiker. So, hiker bodies, they're just like very skinny and
Yeah,
lean. I
yeah.
don't like that in a man. So we beefed him up. He used to wear the same orange neon shirt, like workout shirt, like every day with like shitty zip off cargos and like dad shoes. Was not the vibe. The thing about John now is he is so into shopping and clothes and his appearance and grooming and like he's honestly more into it than I am sometimes. Like a perfect day for John is like taking him shopping and like going
Oh,
to a
I
fancy
love that.
lunch. I know.
That's
Like
like my perfect day.
he loves to piddle like us.
Oh my gosh, we need to go have a perfect day with John. That's like Matt's perfect day too. We need to just all go
That's
have a
so cute.
perfect
Yes.
day.
Like right after Christmas, he got like his big like stock bonus and I was like, "Let's go to Uniqlo." Like I've heard really good things for men. And we went and dropped like so much money on all these new clothes for him and he was so happy. And he was
Oh,
like, "This is the best." And I was like,
oh.
"Yeah, shopping for John." Like he's just so into his appearance now and he always looks so good. Although I will throw him into the bus real quick. Do you remember? This is so niche, but when we were on the Virgin Cruise, I had like extra onboard credit and I went and found him a pair of like nice sweatpants. They were like bougie sweatpants.
Yeah, they were expensive too. Because,
Fucking like $200 sweatpants. Okay.
yeah, y'all know on cruises, they like only put out the luxury brands on those. Okay.
I'd never heard of this brand. But anyway, they're freaking expensive sweatpants. So here he is. He loves these sweatpants. They look so good on him. He's painting our daughter's closet and he comes out and he has a stripe of white paint on his butt crack.
No. Is it dried? Could you get it out?
Oh, that's not coming out. So we call it his butt crack pants now because every time he wears it, it's like arrows pointing. Like, and like, did that stop him from continuing to wear it? Absolutely not. He's like, well, I sprayed it with like the laundry stuff. It didn't come out. And I'm like, that's so embarrassing, John. Like, it's literally just a white butt crack line. Like, and he's like, well, they're really nice sweatpants. And I'm like, exactly. Why the fuck did you wear it when you were painting?
Oh man. Well, okay,
Idiots.
you know what else he could do? Is he could pinstripe the whole pants with the white paint.
He could.
Let them know that there are options.
There are
shoes
options.
if he wants to wear them in public again instead of just at
Uh,
home.
I bought him a new pair at Old Navy and I was like, no more $200 sweatpants for you because you are not responsible with your sweatpants. Anyway, the day this is coming out is actually our 10-year anniversary.
Oh, no way.
Isn't that crazy? February 10th,
Oh my
10
gosh.
years.
Baby, no,
No,
baby girl won't be here yet.
she better not be here yet.
Yeah. Well, what are you guys planning on doing anything for your
No.
10-year? Yeah, I
I'm
don't
going to
blame
be,
you.
what, 36 weeks pregnant?
Yeah.
We're not. No, we usually like go out to a nice dinner or something, but I just like don't want to.
Yeah. You could order in if you wanted to do something. Like order in your favorite or whatever you're craving at that moment.
Yeah, maybe we'll actually eat at the dining table. That'd be
Mm.
light a candle.
Yeah. I mean, you could light a candle at the coffee table though.
That's true. We'd still
Comfy
eat in front of the
clothes.
TV.
Yeah.
Yeah, because we usually like try to combine Valentine's Day and our anniversary because they're like 4 days apart. And
Yeah.
this year I'm like, we're not doing shit.
Yeah. Does that bother you to combine them?
No, I think it's brilliant.
Okay.
I honestly think Valentine's Day, like people who go out for fancy dinners on Valentine's Day, I think that's a bit of a scam.
Oh, it is. And it's like
Mhm.
so crowded. It's like,
The food's never as good on Valentine's Day. Like they're always stressed.
yeah.
Mm. So no,
No.
we really don't do much for actual Valentine's Day. So that's why we use the 10th as our like day to like go out.
Mhm. Yeah, see, Valentine's Day is more for like not really going out to eat. It's for like going to do something fun. Like maybe you go like see a naturey thing together or like go to an arcade or like you know what I mean? Like do something like kind of fun outside the box.
Yeah. I think Valentine's Day is for young love. When you're
Yeah.
like new to a relationship and you can like surprise each other and like get all dressed up. And I think that's really fun. But when you've been together 10 years, you celebrate other things.
That's true. That's true. And sometimes we don't even do anything, But if he happens to be off work, we might like get coffee, at a cute
Oh,
like
that's
coffee
cute. Yeah.
shop.
Yeah. So I think it's a fun day to share our love story. Because I think we have a really good love story, John and I.
Yeah, you do.
Also, both of our love stories are so different, I feel.
No,
When I think
totally.
of your young love, I think of parasailing. And when I think of mine, I think of Tinder.
Yours is like modern times. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, I'll jump in. So, a little over 10 years ago, I was getting home from my study abroad trip to Australia. I was a junior in college and I was extremely depressed because I did not want to come home from Australia. I had like the best time of my freaking life there. I was thriving. I was dating. I was just dating Australians.
Oh gosh, how do you? It's like downhill from there,
So downhill from there. So, like, how do you leave that? So,
Yeah.
I get home. I'm so depressed because left all my friends and all my college friends had kind of like moved on a bit, like they were like,
Yeah.
we're not going to sit here waiting for you. Like that's not like they weren't friends with me anymore, but
They
they
had
had
to.
like all become friends with each other.
Yeah, yeah. They had to move on with their lives. Well.
Exactly. So I go back to school and I'm like so happy to be back, but also so sad. And I go talk to my advisor and they were like, "Oh my gosh, you got so many credits from going to school in Australia because they like bump it up because school's so much harder there." And they were like, "So you actually could have just stayed an extra semester." And I was like, "I'm sorry, what?" And they were like, "Yeah, you really didn't have to come home. Like you would have been ahead." So they were like, "Now you can graduate early if you want." And I was like, "Oh, no, thank you. I'm going to pass on that. Why would I graduate early when I could just not and stay in school as long as possible?" So I talked to my mom about it. I'm like crying on the phone with her. I'm like, "Are you freaking kidding me? Like, I could have just stayed in Australia. I'm so upset. I miss all my friends who are still there because, like, all of them were British and they all do like a full year study abroad, whereas most of us just did like 6 months." And she's like, you know what you should do? You should like fuck off for a quarter and go travel around Europe. And I was like, okay. I was like, you're right.
You're like,
Pay for
say
my
less.
ticket. Yeah, like pay for my little backpack. Like, I'm going to do it. So I had this whole plan. But anyway, it's like January. I'm lonely. I'm like, all my friends have moved on. So I download Tinder and just, like swiping through the app. And like my first swipe was a man named John. And I know, isn't that crazy? So we start talking, and I'm
It
used to
was
like,
this John.
yeah,
No way! I did not know that.
this John. So I'm like talking to this guy, and I'm talking to other guys too, but I'm talking to him, and he was just like so nice. And on Tinder, you don't meet a lot of guys who are just like super nice. And he was just like so nice, and he would like start the day every day by like telling me a joke. So that was like how he would break the ice. He'd be like, "Here's your joke of the day," and we
That's
talked for
so
like,
cute.
isn't that so cute? So that was
Mhm.
January, and we talked for like several weeks, and finally, I remember I was at like a big sorority dinner, and I was like, texting him under the table and stuff, like all sly. And he was like, I think I want to take you out on a date. Like, I can't wait anymore. And I was like, hell yeah. So I'm there with my sorority sisters, like, he asked me out. He asked me out. And everyone's like, ah. And so he was like, I'm going to plan our first date and like, I'll come pick you up. And I was like, okay, cool. So he comes to my little college apartment, which was off campus, which was so cool. It was the first time I like lived off campus. He picked me up in his little Volkswagen hatchback, and I looked so hot. I looked so hot. I was in my prime. Like, I just come back from 6 months in Australia where all I did was party and smoke cigarettes, like, and like live the European way. So I was just like, my hair was long and shiny. Like, I was looking good. And I remember I wore this like pink like wrap shirt and jeans, and I asked him later what he thought, and he's like, you were so hot. And I'm like, I know. So I get in this stranger's car. I instantly remember I couldn't remember his name. Like, so I'm sitting there like, oh, Josh, Jake, Jackson, what is his name? It's fucking John. Like, it's not that hard, but this is how dumb I am. So anyway, he drives me down. We're in Santa Cruz, by the way. He's like, I found this place called the Santa Cruz Lagoon. Have you been to it? And I was like, no, I've literally never heard of it. So he drives me down. It's kind of near the Santa Cruz boardwalk. And it's this like little lagoon. And we just like park there, and we like walk. There's like all these like little boardwalks through this lagoon where there's all these like wild animals and birds, and it's very naturey, and it doesn't feel like downtown Santa Cruz at all. And I, at this point, am like, oh my God, is he going to hold my hand? Like, is he going to like try and kiss me? Like, I'm so ahead of the game for some reason. Maybe because I was like, wow, this is my soulmate. Like, which I didn't actually think right away. But he launches into telling me how in 2 months' time he is going to hike the Pacific Crest Trail, which, for those who don't know, is the hike where you start down by the Mexican border and you hike all the way up to Canada. And it takes about 5 months. And you're just out there in the wilderness by yourself. So I'm a little peeved at this point. And I'm like, it's our first date. And you're telling me that you're about to leave for 5 months? Like, why would you tell me that? So I was like, oh, well, I'm going to go backpack around Europe. So I was like, I'm leaving too. But they were going to like match up perfectly so that when he got back, I was going to leave for Europe. So I was like, okay, like what are we doing here?
You're
Like,
like, so this is pointless. Like, there's
this
no
is fucking
future.
pointless. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was like, what are you doing? Like, I'm not just looking for like a hookup, and he wasn't given that vibe. And yeah, so anyway, I was a little pissed off about that, but I digress. We continued our date. He then took me to the Santa Cruz Diner, which, have you ever been there?
No.
I got to do a whole Santa Cruz tour with you because it's just the freaking best. But the Santa Cruz Diner is one of those just like classic institutions. Like, they sell everything. They have like giant banana splits, and it's been there forever. And so I love this place. He takes me there. It's like very casual, but that's nice for a first date. I am just talking his little ear off, and John was being so quiet, which he's quiet when you first meet him. Like then he comes out of his shell more, but he's one of those guys who like doesn't talk that much, but when he talks it's like so funny. So I'm talking his ear off, and I remember the waiter like kept coming over to take our order, and I was like, I don't know what to get, and because there's like freaking 10-page menu. Finally, the waiter comes back, and I'm like, okay, I'll just decide. And I order the hottest thing you can order on a first date: chili in a bread bowl. Uh-huh. And did I double check that it came in a bread bowl? I did. I did. And then John orders a neat little club sandwich. And instead of fries, he got coleslaw on the side. Yeah. So I got my fucking chili in a bread bowl like I do. And he's over there trying to be all neat and tidy with his like healthy little dinner. And I'm like ripping bread off my bread bowl. And we've talked about this later, and he's like, the way that you really emphasize, like, but it's in a bread bowl, right? Finally, I'm like, okay, well, I have a night class, so I should probably get going. And he's like, oh, what if you skipped your class? And me being like not the very good student, I was like, okay. I was like,
sure.
Whatever. I don't really want to go. So he told me that he really liked the Grateful Dead, which just so happened that at UC Santa Cruz, they have a Grateful Dead museum in the library, which was
no
like,
way.
isn't that cool? It's like one of my big like points on, because I was a tour guide in college. So I would like tell everyone that. So I was like, oh my God, let's go up to the campus and like I can show you the Grateful Dead museum and it'll be so fun. So we go up to the campus and I'm like, oh my gosh, do you want to see a dorm room? Because like my friend lives in the dorms here where like I used to live freshman year. And he was like, okay. So like call up my friend Julia. I'm like, Julia, are you home? Like I'm on a Tinder date. Like I want to show him the dorms. So we go and see his dorms, and I think he was feeling super awkward at this time, but whatever. And then we like walked over to the library.
Why do you think he was feeling awkward? Like, what do you mean? Like,
I don't know. He's just like, because like this was my friend and it's our first date, and I'm just like, pulling him into her dorm, and
oh
like,
yeah, he was
it
like,
was just.
He was like, okay, like he was this random person.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And yeah, I was just, this is how I am. I'm just like, we're all fam. Like in the club, we all fam. And I don't think he felt that, because he was like, this is our first date and I don't know you. And I'm like, look, meet all my friends. Anyway, so we like walked over to the library and I showed him the Grateful Dead museum, which by the way is less of a museum and more like a church to the Grateful Dead.
Oh, okay.
Like,
okay.
There's like a small room that's like a little like museum, but then you go into this dark room with a screen playing Grateful Dead, and there's legit pews where you can sit and like pray to the Grateful Dead.
That's weird. Is this like a thing? Like, do they have like their own like religion? Like, do people worship them like that? Like,
hey, at UC Santa Cruz, I mean, we had a whole Grateful Dead class. Like,
oh no way! Why?
It's a big thing.
Did they like go there or something?
No, but they're San Francisco, like very Woodstocky,
Yeah.
and we're such a hippie school, so like it kind of makes sense.
It just fits, yeah.
It just fits the vibe.
I wonder who started that. It's gotta be like whoever like donated a bunch of money to the school, like, you know what I mean?
Probably, who was like really into the Grateful Dead, because I mean that makes sense. It checks out. But I think John is like, this is weird as fuck. Like, there's like a Grateful Dead church, and I'm like, how fun is this?
No, he mentions he likes the Grateful Dead. Oh, really? Let me show you.
I have a spot for you. And it is just like such a weird thing. Like, and I mean, when you like know John, like he comes from such a conservative background, like from Indiana. I'm sure this was like all so new for him, and like he loves the Grateful Dead, and this is where he's thriving. But also he was like, whoa, like who is this girl? Like, what the fuck?
That's so funny.
From there, I'm like, ooh, I know another spot. There's this, because UC Santa Cruz is like fully in the woods. And I freaking love it. We need to do like a whole walking tour when you come back. But I was like, ooh, pretty close to here, there is this merry-go-round that's like in the woods and it's super cool. Like we should go walk up there. And this whole time I'm like, why isn't he holding my hand? Like, why isn't he like trying anything? Like, I don't know. I kind of like him. And so we like walk up to the merry-go-round and it's just like so cute. I have like all these college pictures like on the merry-go-round in the middle of the forest, and like not a lot of people know about it. So it's like a little secret. And we're like playing on the merry-go-round and I'm just putting out vibes. I'm like, vibe, vibe, like vibe. He's not picking up what I'm
You're
putting
like
down.
brush against, like
Yeah, I'm like, like,
like you
like,
hit the hand.
hello. So we're like kind of going around the
Like,
merry-go-round, and finally he kisses me. And it was such a bad kiss.
oh gosh.
I've told him this. It was like when you like purse your lips, like there were no lips to this kiss. And I was like, it was just like a peck. I was like, huh, okay. Like that was kind of disappointing, but I'm not one to judge him because he's nervous, like clearly.
Yeah.
So that was like our first kiss, and yeah, it was disappointing, but whatever.
Like, I feel like you have to learn how people, maybe the girl that he dated before you really, which gross, I hate to think about stuff like that, but
Ugh, I know.
maybe that's how she liked to be kissed, you know?
Maybe. I mean, I don't think a first kiss is ever that good. I mean, maybe
It's
it
not.
is, but never in my case. I remember too, he had kind of a buzz cut, and I was like, like, I hate it. And I didn't think he was like that cute, but when he wore a hat, he was really cute. So I was like, okay,
You know, it's
yeah,
so funny as girls, like, whenever you go on a first date, like, all the things that you take inventory of in your head, you're like,
yes.
not a fan of the clothes. I can change that. Hair needs some work. I can, like, do something about that, too. Like, you
Yeah, it's like a
know?
blank slate, especially when you're freaking 20 years old. You're like,
Yeah.
it's okay. Like, I can fix this. Like,
Yeah, men are like clay, honestly, especially at that
exactly.
age.
So anyway, after that, he drives me home and I'm like, "Oh my god, do you want to come meet my roommate? She's my best friend." And of course, he's like, he told me this later that he thought I was like implying like come into my house, you know? I was not picking up that vibe. So I was just like, "Oh my gosh, she's my best friend Ria. Like we live together." And then I was like, "Okay, bye." I was like, "It's time for you to leave." And he was like, "Okay." So I like kissed him goodbye and he left and I was like, well, that went well, but too bad he's leaving on this Pacific Crest Trail. Like I'm never gonna see him after that. But we ended up like continuing to see each other like super frequently. And I remember I went on this trip to visit my brother in Arizona because he was going to ASU at the time. And I told my mom about John and I was like, oh God, I really like this guy. And I was like, but he's kind of ugly. So like if I show you his pictures, like they're not good. And honestly, he's so hot now. So it's crazy that I did that. Like, you're welcome, John. He was not cute at the time. And I was just like, he has a great personality and he's not a good kisser, but whatever. See, that's the thing. When women are like, oh, well, I have to like not, I have to cast him out because I don't like his haircut, or he's not a good kisser, or he was a little awkward. I'm like, no, 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 no. These are building blocks. Like, you have to be committed to the plot because I created my dream man out of nothing.
100%. 100%. I fully agree. And like, and I tell so many girls that who are like any of my single girlfriends that are dating, I'm like, whenever, and also, you know what I think has perpetuated this, like, oh no, he's not this, so I'm gonna like, whatever. Is like the dating app culture. Is because it's like
Yeah,
swipe, 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 swipe. It's like I don't
everyone's
like.
disposable.
Yeah, they're like weird shirt in the photo swipe, and I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
what? Like,
No, don't be
you
that
know,
picky. Like,
yeah.
you got to use your intuition. I had a vibe about this man.
But I do think if someone isn't exactly what you want, then you should get away. But that's like in the things that you can't change about someone way.
Precisely.
You know what I mean? Not in the
Exactly.
things that are changeable.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely 100%. So my phrase after that was, oh, God hates me, because I was like, oh, I meet this like perfect guy. Like we, kept going on dates. We were basically inseparable. And I
After
was
that
like,
night.
yeah. And he was gonna go. on this trail. And he was like preparing so much. Like we would have dates where we would go on a hike and he would practice setting up his tent and he would practice making food. And we'd be in the backyard of his grandma's house and he would like practice setting up his tent there. And I was like so depressed because I was like, oh, I'm like crazy about this guy. So basically, the day comes where he leaves on the trail. Can't believe he actually did it. I drive him to the airport. He flies down to San Diego. He starts the trail. And it was the worst couple of days like of my life. Like that's when I realized like, oh, I'm attached to this man. And like I had just started a new quarter at school, like sorority stuff. Like I was rush chair. Like I was very busy, but I was so sad. And finally, I keep telling him, I'm like, are you happy? Like, do you want to do this? Like, we'd had all these plans of like where we were going to meet and like things we were going to like try to stay together, you know? And finally he calls me one day and he's like, I don't want to do this. Like, I think I want to come home. And it had been 5 days. And I was like, yes. I'm like, yeah, do you need a ride? And he's like, yeah. So I call up my dad. I literally left class. It's like first week of the new quarter. I left class. I call my dad. I'm like, I need your car. I have to drive down to San Diego and pick up John. And he was pissed. He was so mad. And he was like, you're not doing that. And I was like, no, I am. I'm 21 years old. I'm going. Like, I don't give a shit. I'm going to pick him up.
Well,
and
it's not that far. You know what I mean? It's kind
of. It was
far.
like 10-hour drive.
Yeah, it's kind of far. But like, you're 21. Like, you know, that's not.
Yeah. But of course, my dad is like real pissed because he's like, you're not leaving school to like go drive down to Mexico and pick up this guy that you barely know.
Yeah, but also, and also leaving the school part is probably more so than.
Yeah, like first week. I'm like, nothing's happening. It's syllabus week. Like, calm down. Like, we're not doing anything. It's fine.
Which is true. Like, if there was ever a week to miss, it's that week. Yeah.
Exactly. I'm like, nothing's happened yet. Like,
but
it's
to
whatever.
A parent, it doesn't sound great. Like missing the
who's paying for my school.
Yeah.
But anyway, somehow I convince him to like give me his car. I don't know how. So he like drives to Santa Cruz. Like we switch cars because I had one that like was not going to make it down there. And so I take his car and I just start the drive. And I drove, it was like 10 or 11 hours. I got there at night. John was at his mom's weird ass friend's house in Julian, California. And this woman was so fucking religious. And so I get there and I'm like manic. Like I am like, give me my man. Like, cause we were official at this time. Like we were boyfriend, girlfriend. Like we were in love, like basically, although we hadn't said it yet. I like walk in, I'm like, where is he? And she's like, he's in the bedroom. And I was like, I'm going. And she's like, you are not going in that bedroom. And I'm like, what do you think I'm going to do? And I was like, yeah, I am.
On top of him.
I know. I'm like, I'm here to pick him up. Like, we're not staying here. I'm not going to go climb in bed with him. Like, what the fuck? So I was like, yeah, I am going in there. So I go in and he's asleep and I wake him up and he rolls over and he's like, Hannah, I love you. Aww. And that was the first time he told me he loved me. And I was like, oh my God, I love you. I'm so in love. So I grab him,
sweet.
Grab all his shit. I'm like, get in the car.
You said it?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think I had said it before and he didn't reciprocate. And I was like, wow. Anyway,
rude.
But I was fully in love with this man. Like we were inseparable. Like this was so hard to be away from him. So we like pack up all his shit. And I'm like, we're going to get a hotel. I'm like, let's go to Encinitas. And this woman is like, not Encinitas. And we're like, what's wrong with Encinitas? And she's like, no, it's horrible there. And I'm like,
Encinitas is good.
Yeah. To this day, we say to each other, not Encinitas. Like, this is the weirdest fucking woman ever. So I'm like, whatever, goodbye. I'm taking my mans. I'm sure she's like calling John's mom, like, this random girl came and got him. And I'm like, I am your son's future wife, okay? I get him. We go stay in a motel. Then we drive back up the next day to Santa Cruz. I have never been more in love. I swoon, swoon, swoon. That was it. We never left each other's side again. Like, he had to go to work, I had to go to class. He would pick me up from class, I'd pick him up from work. We were connected. I would stay over at his grandma's house where he was living at the time, because he just moved from Indiana like pretty recently. So he didn't like have his own place or anything. We're still kids. And then come the fall, he came with me on my 3-month European backpacking trip. And I had a little buddy.
Aww.
And it was crazy because like we did that. We were together for 3 months. We fought a lot, but we didn't break up. And we got back. It was my senior year. I graduated. We moved in together immediately. We got Riley at Christmas, so 2016. And we got a place in San Francisco. And yeah, we've been inseparable ever since.
Oh, now you're about to have a baby. Oh my God.
I'm having this baby. Isn't that crazy? Like, from Tinder to here. So I love our love story. I feel like I just talked so much. I'm sorry. But
No, I loved it. I was sad.
get the popcorn. Yeah, he is everything. And yeah, he's the love of my life. We are inseparable. We are soulmates. I will love that man until the day I die.
And he's such a good husband and just such a good guy. Like, he really is,
He's the best, and he's going to be the best girl dad, and I can't believe it's happening. Like, I know we've been together 10 years, but it's still weird. Like, we're about to have like a baby.
It is crazy.
I know. Oh, he just texted me too. He knows we're talking about him.
What did you say? Did you say? I know.
Well, it was picture day at work for his new badge, so he wrote me, "Got my mugshot taken." He said he had to hold up a whiteboard with his name and email.
That's like a corporate mugshot.
Oh my God. He's the best. If you have the privilege of knowing John, like, you're lucky.
No, he's so great, and he's a good listener. He can also like get down with the gossip sometimes, like, you know what I mean?
He loves a gossip sesh.
like, but not like too much to where it's like, oh, this is weird that a guy, like, it's like the perfect, like, you know what I mean? He's like everything that you would want in a, like, your bestie's husband to be. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah. Obsessed with him.
Yeah, it's great. And he treats you so, like, perfect.
And he loves you. Like,
I love him.
He loves hearing us like giggle together when you're here. And he's always like, "I'm so glad you have Torri." Like, he's just so genuinely happy that we found each other. And that's just so nice, It
is so nice. It's so nice. And honestly, when I come in town and visit, like, he's right up giggling with us too. Like, we all are having the best time laughing.
He's a girl's girl.
He is. Like, I love it so much.
Oh, I'm so mad I still haven't met Matt yet.
I know, you're gonna love him. He is girl's
girl. I feel like I know him. I mean, we talk sometimes on the phone. Like, not like without you, but I'm like, oh, I just call Matt up. Like,
he would love it, honestly. I feel like now you kind of know him a little more just from like him in the background of stuff. And like, I feel like now you're kind of like understand him a little more and get more of his humor and stuff. Like,
yeah, definitely.
Because sometimes people will, like, it'll take them off guard and they'll think he's like being rude or something, or like said something, like, you know what I'm saying? And I'm like, oh, he's joking. Like,
yeah, exactly. Maybe that's why people on social media are so concerned about you sometimes.
Yeah, sometimes they're like, oh my gosh. And I'm like, no, like, that's his humor, Like,
yeah, exactly. You just don't get it.
Yeah, you just don't get it. So speaking of Matt.
Yes, tell us.
Yes, so Matt and I actually met in college. Right before Matt and I met, like, the month before dating apps came out, like the month before Tinder was released.
Wow,
isn't that insane?
Ancient.
So I know, it makes me feel even older. But so we just missed the boat. Like, neither of us have ever gone to experience being on a dating app. We were in college, and it was I don't know if I'm sure everyone has had this experience where it's like in college, like on this night you go here and on this night you go there, like to the
Mm-hmm.
different college bars because they have like specials or whatever.
Yeah.
So one of the nights, it's on Tuesdays. It's a Tuesday right now, though we're recording this, which is funny. It's dollar beer night at this place called Mugs and Jugs. And
Mugs and jugs.
yeah,
Could there be a classier name for a bar? I don't think so.
no, and everyone would go there on on Tuesdays, and so for dollar beer night, since I have heard that they have raised it to $2 now, because
Rude.
it's been like
Inflation.
yeah, inflation, and it's been like a decade, so as they should, I guess. But we used to go there with our dollars and get tore up from the floor up. And I remember we would get like these buckets of beer. Like we would just get like we just get like a bucket of beer at a time and just like have these like buckets of like bottles of beer, and we just walk around with
Obsessed.
them and like go get
Oh,
another one.
college.
Yeah. And I remember it would be so packed in there that you like almost couldn't even like walk because that's like how many just like college kids that there would be. And one time I was in there and I was like very, very newly single. Like I had just broken up with my boyfriend of 5.5 years because I was in this relationship that was like really stupid. Like, so we would go like days without even talking, like it was just stupid. We were young, obviously, whenever I'd gotten together with that guy because I was like 23 when Matt and I met. When I broke up with that guy, I was like, this is gonna be my like fun young. I was like at the tail end of college, like last year in college victory lap. I was like, I'm gonna just like have fun. I want to date around. I want to like fully embrace this. And I was like, I'd never looked better. Like, like
Yeah.
I was like, this is my time. I've never have had a hoe phase my entire life. I was like, I wanna like just do it. I wanna
You
like
need a hoe phase.
well, it never happened for me.
Oh my God. Poor thing.
I know. But so then I'm like hanging out with my friends and we're like crammed in there and I see Matt, like we catch eyes and I'm like, oh my gosh, he's so hot. Cause one thing about Matt is he's pretty cute. Like he's someone that like people look twice at. Like he just always has been. Granted, since then, not as much as when he was younger, but even still, like people always like think that he looks like a famous person like all the time and like different famous. He gets different ones all the time. But anyways, he's just like an attractive looking guy, like he is. And when he was younger, even more so, like people would be like, oh my God. Anyway, so I too, when I saw him, was like, oh my God, that dude's really hot. But I was like, whatever. I like don't want to, I'm not interested in like dating or doing anything like that. I literally just broke up with that guy. I'm not even interested in talking to another guy right this second. I just want to like hang out with my girlfriends, and yes, I want to date around and do all of that, but like not tonight.
Yeah.
Anyways, we end up like talking that night, and it was like towards the end of the night, and it was like we're the only two people in the room kind of thing, and it ended up being we weren't the only two people in the room, but it felt like because we were talking and it felt like we were like the only two people in the room.
I love
And
that.
yeah, and we were like the last people to leave the bar, and I remember he like walked off and he almost left without asking me for my number, and I was like, huh, that's crazy, like that he was just about that he was leaving and didn't even ask me for my number after we just had this like crazy like connection. Like I remember when I felt this like conversation that we were having after he had like after he came up to me and we ended up talking for so long that it felt like cosmic, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Uh-huh.
And I was like, wow. And he's just like, no, I just walked up to you, asked for a number. But then like he turned around and
Fucking
came.
men.
I know. He turned around and came back and was like, hey, can I get your number? And I was like, oh, okay. Whew.
Smart.
Yeah. So then he like gets my number. And after that, I ended up having like a wild and crazy night. Like me and my friend ended up going to this frat party. We get like locked in the bathroom at this frat party on accident because like the door handle broke. So I have to like hoist her out the window of this like two-story fraternity and like try to lower her to the ground. She has to like run around and let us back in. Anyways, he texts me and is like really into me, like from that moment on, like texting me every day, and I'm like very hesitant because, as you remember, I'm like, oh no, like I can tell this like could really be something. Like that's how it felt when I met him, and he's like texting me every day and like really following through and wanting to hang out. Like the next, like 2 days later, I was going to like eat pizza with my friends, and he's like, what are you doing tonight? And I told him that, and so he kind of like invited himself ish, that I told him he could come. I was like, well, we're going here. So he shows up, and it was just like me and my girlfriends, and he told me, he was like, oh shoot, I remember when I walked in that night, I was like, oh, this is like one of those things that when a girl says, oh yeah, you can come if you want, it's like they don't really want you to come, and I just didn't pick up. But I thought it was cute, and everyone was like, oh, he's cute, da, da, da. And then I remember like the next week was dollar beer night again, and I looked at my roommates because he was texting me and I knew he was going to be there, and I was like, hey, he's going to be there, and don't leave me alone with him, because I feel like I don't want to just be like hanging out with him like the whole night. Like I want to hang out with you guys. I want to like just have a fun night. Like I don't want to just be like glued to him the whole night. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like,
that's fair.
so I told my roommates that. And so we get there, and first, sure enough, he like comes up to me, and immediately I'm like, actually, I do want to be glued to him the whole night.
You're like, shoo shoo.
Yeah. They're like trying to not leave me alone, and I'm like, it's okay.
I take it back.
I take it back. And we end up like having like a super fun night and like hanging out the whole night. I remember he like tries to kiss me at the end of the night, but he's wearing this like hat. And then he like hits me in the forehead and it like knocks me backwards, and he was like, oh shoot. So then he tries again, does it again, and he was like, wait a second. And he like takes the hat off, puts it on backwards, and then like kisses me. But I remember like we were at the bar at first, and then he like tells me, he's like, I really want to kiss you, but I'm not gonna kiss you when we're sitting at a bar, because you're not the kind of girl that I want to kiss at a bar. And that's so sweet. Yeah, and so he didn't kiss me until we were like out front, like leaving. And then after that, I was like, oh, F word. Like, I fully really like him now. Like, that whole, like, oh no, I don't want to. Like, and he had been texting me, like, this whole time, like, a lot. And I've been really barely texting him back, kind of thing, So after that night, I was fully in there. Well, about a week later of me like barely texting him back, I was like, no, I really like him. Like I should stop doing this and like stop. Like I was just really internally conflicted.
Yeah.
But
when you know, in the
yeah,
wise words of Lana Del Rey.
yeah. And so after about a week, I just woke up and was like, I need to stop doing this. I know that I like this guy a lot. So then I texted him, and he like didn't respond or something. And I was like, oh, excuse me, you're obsessed with me. Like, what are you doing?
What?
Yeah. So then I was like very offended. The roles were reversed. And then he was, and I trust me, ladies, I was not someone who was like texting guys like that. Like, that was like a one and only occurrence. But then like he would text me after that, and I would like answer, and then he just would like, he'd be like, hey, what are you doing? And I'd be like, oh, I'm doing this. And then he just wouldn't say anything after that. And I'd be like, oh my gosh. And I was like, I screwed this up. I was like, I totally screwed this up. Oh my gosh. Which I'll like save you the little other times that we hung out here and there that were really, really great. And we always had like an amazing time. But then it was like kind of just like cat and mouse ish. Like, and nothing ever like happened. We would like, he'd maybe kiss me at the end of the night, kind of thing. Then on Halloween, I remember I was having a big Halloween party with my roommates. It wasn't on the actual Halloween. It was like, you know how if you're in college, especially, Halloween is like a week long. So I was having a Halloween party a couple days before, not on the actual Halloween. And I'd invited him as well as like a bunch of other people. And he like said that he was going to come. And then the night of Halloween rolls around, or the night of our Halloween party rolls around, and he like didn't come. And I was so offended, like
Mm-hmm.
very offended. So after that, I was like, okay, I'm not doing this anymore. I'm not like talking to him, blah, blah. He's done. And then
Mm-hmm.
a couple of days later is actual Halloween at that place that has like a bunch of bars in it. This place I think has like probably 8 or so rooms, maybe even more, but it's like one big bar, but it has
I
like
love
8 or
it.
so. Yeah, so and they do like a bunch of stuff. It's like this old building. It's really cool, but it's in our downtown, in our small little hometown. So I was going there for actual Halloween. I'd actually written him off at this point, and me and my roommate had went on as Wayne's World. I was Garth, and she was Wayne, but like the cute version. I remember I was wearing like jean shorts and like Vans and like just a plaid shirt with like glasses and drumsticks, and she had like a blow up guitar and like just a black t-shirt and Vans and shorts and a Wayne's World hat, and like that was our costume. It wasn't anything crazy. And this bar, one of the rooms was a piano room, like a piano bar. One of the rooms is like a dance, like a oonst, like,
Club.
dance. Yeah, club. One of the rooms is like a craft beer room. Like it's actually a really cool place. All this is important to the story. So it's also on nights like this, they sell like tickets because it gets crazy busy. And we end up having like the best night. And like everyone is like, oh, Wayne's World. Like everyone, the costume was a hit. Apparently he like saw me there, but I didn't see him because there were so many people and so many rooms of this bar.
Sounds
Um
so fun.
yeah, it was so fun. It was so fun. And I like one of the rooms being the piano room, we jumped on stage, me and my roommate. And it was Wayne's World, and they switched the song that the piano players, because it's dueling piano bar, so they switched the song that they were playing to the Wayne's World theme song. As soon as we jumped on the stage, they switched it to Wayne's World, like the Wayne's World theme song. And so we're just like jumping up and down with Wayne's World, and then we like jump off the stage. So my husband's best friend still to this day, his name's Rob. That's who Matt was with. Matt was like, says to Rob, I know that girl who is on the stage. And Rob was like, no, you don't. Like, you don't know her. And he's like, yes, I do. He was like, and I really messed things up with her. And and he never did anything. Like, it's not like, oh, there was another girl or like something like that. It was just like,
He kind of
like,
ghosted you.
yeah. And it was like the miscommunication-ish, or he would like text
Mm-hmm.
me and then like not follow through, which granted, he was very responsive and very attentive, and I was very not. So then he kind of in response to that,
Yeah.
so it was all fair, but like still, he was like, Rob, like help me find her. So he said the rest of the night, him and Rob, and he texted me like then after he saw me, and the rest of the night, Matt and Rob has told me too, to this day, like they spent the rest of the night like looking for me, like all around
I
that
love
place.
it.
And he had like texted me so many times and called me so many times after that. And then Matt has told me that after he saw me on that stage, he was like, dang, I just thought to myself, gosh, I really messed things up with her, and I'm gonna do like anything I can to like make it right. And
Oh my
he
God, I
called
love
me.
that.
Yeah. And then he called me the next day and asked me out properly on a date. And yeah, we have been together ever since. Our first date wasn't great, if I'm being 100% honest.
See,
Um,
that's the thing. This is why women, you cannot just count out a guy based on like one experience, one outfit, one whatever. You have
yeah.
to like really trust your intuition.
Yeah. And you know what? What's so funny is I thought that Matt had good style when I met him, but he didn't at all. what what was saving him is he's a parasail captain at the time, so he was like beach boy, and he was leaned into
Ah,
that like surfer beach brands thing.
I
And
love
that's
it.
such an easy, if you're a boy and you're not sure like which style to go, if you just lean into those brands and wear that, do that until you find a girl that's good.
Especially if you're in Florida or California.
Yeah. if you just do that, that's a safe bet for you
Mm.
until you find a girl who can like really like hone your style, because he was wearing like those kinds of things. So I was like, oh, he's got like good style. But once he was out of the like Beach Boy stage and he was into regular clothes, it was not good until I got it together for him. And now he's great. Now he's 10 out of 10. But
Exactly.
yeah.
It's just like a blank slate. You got to build it. That's what we're here for. It's the girlfriend effect.
Exactly. Exactly. I was just saying there's so many things that I like taught him like along the way. Just like same with Hannah. Like, and Hannah and I have talked about this so much, like how we basically like made and molded our people, you know?
That's the benefit of meeting someone when you're like 20 or like in your early 20s, is
Mhm.
that you can really like build your lives together and like build them up kind of how you want them to be. Like, I wanted John to have a beard. He has a beard now. Like, take notes, ladies.
That's so funny. No, you know what? Someone told me this analogy. They're saying like when you're in your young 20s or like teens even and you are dating, it's like, or getting married or whatever. It's like you're like, "Hey, let's start this company together." And it's like you're starting this company together at like a startup and then you start this company. But whenever you're dating in your older life and it's like you're merging two companies,
That's so true. I love
like
it.
two established companies. Whereas when you're younger, you're just like you're at a startup and you're building,
Yeah, because if you meet someone older, you can't really change them. Like, you
Yeah,
can't be like, oh, I'm gonna mold this guy or this girl into like who I want them to be. Like, they're molded. But yeah, yeah, I see that. I can't wait to get John and Matt together and have like the four of us all be together and film our. I'm so excited to have them on the podcast.
yeah, it's gonna be so fun.
It's going to be so fun. Although I think it'll be interesting because Matt like doesn't stop talking and John doesn't talk a lot. So I'm like,
Yeah,
poor John, will he get a word in?
I know. That's the only thing, because I have to be like, shh. Lots of times I shush him.
I know, I hear it all the time. Oh, you guys are
He
so funny.
I know. He just gets like so excited sometimes. And there and it is, and I have to like take it as there is something I love. One of the things that I love most about him is he has this like childlike like zest for life, and
Yeah.
it comes out a lot sometimes, and it's just so cute to me, like when he gets excited about things or see things, like the way that he gets excited is like this like wonderment that you almost
Yeah.
have as a child, and I like love that because I don't know, there's just something so endearing about it. But it's almost like in the same realm, that thing that like doesn't stop talking.
No, Matt is like 100% a golden retriever. Like,
In
he is the
every sense.
most golden retriever husband ever.
Yeah. He also like would do anything for me, and like his aim and goal soul in life is to like make me happy and like
Hmm.
to do anything to make me happy. So like if I don't want to do something or I want to do something, he fully takes that into account and it fully affect, whereas so I'm not as good at like if he doesn't want to do something, I'm like
But I want to. Yeah.
yeah.
No, his world like solely revolves around you.
Yeah. And
Like,
it's so
you are
sweet.
the epicenter of his world.
Yeah.
Like, that's what I when that random person wrote me on social media being like, I'm worried about Tori, like she's so dependent on her husband. I'm like, you are missing it. Like,
Yeah.
that man is obsessed with her. Like, he would
Yeah.
do anything for her. And then there's Tori, who's like, I mean, you're a great person, but it's different. You're like, look, I'm gonna put me first.
Yeah. And listen, the women should always have the upper hand. The woman should always have the upper hand in a um what do you call that? Heterosexual relationship,
Yes.
because men just like can't handle it. They'll treat you bad if you don't have the upper hand.
It's so true. And that's why I loved meeting John when I was in my early 20s because I could kind of whip him into shape. And he's perfect now. So
Mm-hmm.
I did
Mm-hmm.
good.
Yeah, you did.
We're so lucky though. Like, they're the best. And when I hear people my age dating, it just sounds so exhausting. It sounds so hard because you literally do have to find someone who is fully formed and you like them. So you have to basically count on other women doing the work for you like 10 years ago to like make them like a good person. This sounds probably so sexist against men, but I'm like, men cannot be good people on their own. Like they can, but obviously, you know how I feel about men, but it just sounds like so exhausting to like take that path and like power to you if you're in your 30s dating.
I mean, I'm normally a very optimistic person, but I feel like they're probably single because they couldn't get it together, you know? Like,
And I'm sure there's still some like good men out there who are single in their 30s. So like if you're listening to this and you're dating in your
yeah.
30s, don't lose hope.
Because there are people who, like, I mean, girls can do very mean and mess up in a bad way where a good guy ends up very single. But I mean, if a guy has never been in like a long term relationship and is like that kind of bachelor
Mhm.
guy, that's what I'm talking about. Like those
Yeah,
guys who
totally.
would,
Anyway, it is Love Week. So I hope you guys are celebrating your loves, whatever that means to you, whether it's you and your cat having like a cute little evening together because they're your love, or you and your best friend, you and the guy who gives you your coffee at Circle K. I don't
yeah,
know. Whoever
yeah,
it is.
exactly. Also, going to see a movie is a really fun thing to do on Valentine's Day that's not going out to eat and fighting the crowds.
That's a good idea. Stock up on snacks and popcorn, get a
Mm-hmm.
slushie, get one of those recliny chairs.
Mm-hmm.
Vibes. I love it.
Vibes.
And yeah, you guys know where to find us. We are Hanley Lifestyle and Torri Sunshine. You can follow us everywhere at Internet Girls Pod. That's girls with a Z. Watch us on YouTube. Listen to our podcast anywhere. And don't forget to rate and review because it's Love Week. We want
Yeah.
some love too.
Please rate and review our podcast. Like, stop right now. Thank you very much. Rate and review our podcast, please.
Yes.
For Love Week. Do it for love. Love
Do it
Week.
for love because we are your Valentines. I'm so happy you guys are here. We're here every Monday. Thanks for joining us. We love you. Happy Love Week. And with that, Internet Girl.